Hey everybody, welcome. It's been a while since I've done a video, especially about the topic I'm about to talk about, uh, teaching. So, in fact, when this person asked about this topic, I went on my channel and I looked, and 2010, almost 6 years ago, December of 2010, I made a video similar to what I'm going to talk about today, about how I adjusted from being a jet to starting at my university, which I had just started at the university in 2010, and pacing and things like this. So I'm going to put a link to that video down below. It's 20 minutes long, but it's fairly informative. I just rewatched it, which is always weird to rewatch yourself chatting for 20 minutes, but I wanted to see what I talked about and what I didn't. But I had a viewer named Andrew, who watched my videos years ago when he was becoming a jet. He has become a jet, is finishing his time on jet, and now wants to teach at a university. And it's amazing to me that I have viewers like that who, it's like the whole cycle. But I am coming up on my 10-year anniversary on YouTube. It's very soon. It's this month in October, and we'll talk more about that later. All right. So I'm drinking some Nat Chen today. A little Halloween theme here. So, there, you can read it there maybe. It's this kind of 40% juice drink. It's, I don't know, it's just sort of, I've been buying it lately at the store for some reason. It's kind of like Tang or something maybe in the States, if you know Tang. Just like, there's no fizz in it or anything. It's sweet. Okay, so he wanted to know, how do you lesson plan? How do you do this thing that you've never done before, that maybe your university is going to want you to be able to do right from day one, even though as an ALT you've always been a team, you've always been part of team teaching, you've never been in charge of your own class before, etc., etc. And I totally understand where you're coming from. I don't have a master's degree, so I didn't go to school and study education or study English teaching. In fact, my degree, which is the reason that I now teach history in Japan at my new school, is my degree is in American history. So when I became a jet, I had no, knowledge about, extensive knowledge about English or how to be an English teacher. Most jets don't. Your degree, if you want to become a jet, can be in anything. You can have a science degree, a phys ed degree, a psychology degree, an anthropology degree, whatever it is. But you learn, of course. And I was a jet for 5 years. Andrew, I believe, is finishing his third year, or will be. And so, you learn on the job, you learn what works, what doesn't work, etc., especially for the age group you teach mostly. And that time, of course, now is all coming back to me in a little way here at my new job, because I'm back teaching in America what we would call 7th grade to 12th grade, although my highest grade students right now are 10th grade. But I say, the fact that I'm still the lone teacher, the only person that walks in the room is me. I'm totally in charge of all my lessons, my grading, my tests, assessment. All that stuff is me at this new school. Totally different than being an ALT. I'm not an ALT anymore. There's no assistant about what I do anymore. And so my university experience has totally been helpful and beneficial to my teaching now, even though I'm back at a junior high / senior high school. So how do you do it? Well, the big thing that you're going to get that's going to help you a lot when you first go to a university to teach is, almost without exception, you're going to probably get a textbook. There'll be some other English faculty at the school. You won't be the only English teacher, I assume. So they will have either taught the class that you're teaching, at some point in their time, you move classes around. Hey, you teach level 4 this year, I'll teach level 5, okay, and next year you'll teach level 3 and I'll teach level 2. And so most of the other faculty have probably had experience teaching what you're doing. Maybe they've taught your book. I had teachers at my school that gave me like PowerPoint slides and worksheets and things based on a book I had chosen that they had taught before. Sometimes I chose books that nobody on the staff had ever taught before, and so I was the first one. You can do that. You have to create all these materials yourself. So that's a lot of work. But once you do it, the next year, if you decide that this is a good book and an effective way to teach the kids what they need to know, grammar and etc., and gives them an opportunity to chat in English and all these things you need to do, then I use Keynote, I use Mac products, so I had all these slides on Keynote and lessons mapped out, and okay, here's the warm-up, and here's the activity, and here's the chat that we're going to talk about at the beginning, and then we're going to segue into this part of the book, and then we're going to do this as a wrap-up, and here's the assignment for the weekend, and I had all that worked out, so it gets easier. I was at the university, for over 5 years, and it does get easier. We never, the university I was at, again, we had about 250 freshmen, and we had about 50 per section, and we had 5 sections. So I found myself often teaching the lowest section, or maybe 2 or 3. I never got above 3. I never taught the 4th or the 5th, the highest ability students. That was already more senior faculty. Always got those classes. So I was very worried, for instance, even though I'd been teaching for a while and been at the university. I think in my 2nd or 3rd year, they said, we want you to now teach the lowest level. These are the kids who can barely, they write their name in English, and that's about it. They score very low on the TOEIC. They generally don't have any interest in English. They have to take it. They had to take it at my university to pass, to graduate. So that can be a challenge. It's a different set of motivation, and also an engagement. How much Japanese are you going to use in class? Are you going to speak no Japanese in class and just have them sink or swim with your English? What kind of textbook are you going to use? What kind of activities are you going to do to support them? How much is it going to be teacher-centric versus student-led? There's so many buzzwords and things going on now in education. And if you're doing a master's in education, you're probably learning about some of these things. Like I said, I didn't take any of these types of courses, so it was all learn on the go. And you can do it. Don't worry. I did it. And I'm not super, super intelligent, so other people can do it too. But it's dedication. It's how should I say, your commitment to wanting the students to enjoy the class, get something from the class, retain things that they've learned from the class. You have to have goals. You have to have something. Okay, I'm starting this, in October 1st, and by October 30th, after we've been, had 8 classes over 4 weeks, what do I want them to have learned? What do I want them to be able to tell me? What do I want them to be able to say in English that they couldn't say before? You need to have little mini goals throughout the semester, and then maybe a goal for the entire semester that you're working toward. You can work through the book, and some of the books are better than others, and you'll find that out when you go to faculty meetings, and reps from the companies will come and they'll have all these books out for you to look through and stuff. But you need to have your own goal in mind of like what you want them to learn. Because for the most part, you're going to be left on your own. I got very little in the way of class observation. I almost got 0 class observation or feedback or anything from any of the other faculty. The students will give you feedback in the form of a questionnaire that they'll fill out toward the end of the semester about, they do it for all their classes. And I always got good marks in that. The students, for the most part, liked my classes. they appreciated, just little things that I did, like, we took a break at Christmas to watch Charlie Brown Christmas, or he would play music in class while we were working on our thing. It made me feel relaxed. I mean, you get all kinds of interesting comments, and you don't even think about what you're doing, but how it affects them and makes them want to come to class. So don't worry so much about like how you're gonna lesson plan. I mean, you've got to have a brain. You got to buy a little spiral notebook. Class number 1, day number 1. I'm going to do my Jiko Shokai, and then we're going to talk about this, and then I'm going to have the students introduce themselves to each other, and then I'm going to ask them questions, and then day 2 we're gonna everybody should have the book by now because I talked about it, and you're going to make a syllabus. And you're going to hand it out, and this is what I hope to achieve this semester, and you should be able to listen and read and speak and write, English. It's a 4 senses class, and blah blah blah. But your faculty will help you. It depends, if you finish JET, then you're trying to get a job where you start after the summer. You're going to be starting mid-year at the university, so you might be, coming in for a teacher that's, gone away or is going to go teach something else to let you come in and teach English or whatever. But there should still be some faculty meetings, some things happening that will allow you to ask questions. Sorry, I'm a little nacho. And yeah, I don't know what to say. Now, you mentioned in your email to me that you've got the feeling that some universities that you're applying to get a job want you to like already have a curriculum in hand, like already have lesson plans ready to go. Just tell them that you do. I would just say. If you've been teaching, I don't know what level JET you are, if you're a high school or junior high, but if you've been teaching JET for 3 years, it's not the exact same, but you're going to be able to stand up there in front of the class and get it going, and you'll quickly know what works and what doesn't work just from your JET experience. And like I said, you can fall back that first year on that textbook. You want to get away from it as much as you can, maybe. As you become a better teacher or more experienced at that level. But that first, maybe 6 months or so, okay, let's open the book, page 2, here we go, unit 1, and you're going to have a CD to play, and, okay, what did you get for number 1, Ryohei? And, just go around the class, and, that the textbook will help you a lot because it gives you a structure. And it gives you, okay, I did this page, and now next class I'm going to do the next page. And, some classes, maybe they want you to teach British literature, or maybe they want you to teach, paragraph writing, or maybe they want you to teach oral communication, And so, you won't necessarily have a same sort of textbook or something. But that's your ability to sink or swim. It will inform, how much you're going to be successful at that job. If they want you to have stuff worked out in advance, you just have to then hit them up with questions like, oh, okay, well, what kind of course is it? What are you expecting out of it? What do you want the students to, they're going to start here and they're going to end here. What do you want them to be able to accomplish in that time? And just listen to what they say, and then just say, okay, well, I would probably, try to pick a book that allows them to do this and this and this, and, maybe you can, suggest, the other faculty can suggest a book that they've used that's worked well in this situation with this level of student, and we're going to study, we're going to get a TOEIC book. A TOEIC is a big test in the university, and we're going to, go through, you can get a book for easy. It's like the 1,000 words you need to know for the TOEIC. And, okay, so we're going to do 25 words a week, and then I'm going to give them a little mini test every Monday, and blah, 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 And so these ideas will come to you. And like I said, talking to other faculty, hopefully, they're good. They're not, bitter or burnt out or, not helpful type of people. And yeah, again, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Like when I came to my job now, I had never, even though my degree is in history and I had been teaching for 10 years, I had never taught history before because this is my first chance to do that here in Japan. So I did the whole thing. Oh man, they're like, okay, Jason, what are you going to teach? And, this class is once a week, so you're going to get them like 15 times in a semester. This class is twice a week. You're going to get them about 30 times in a semester. What book do you want to get? Send me the ISBN. My boss would say something like, tell me the book you want to order. And so I had to spend time, days like researching and looking at different online textbooks. I wanted them to have an online textbook that they could use their iPads. The school requires them to have an iPad and blah, blah. And there's been good things about that and bad things about that. And so I've learned a lot this year just implementing my plans. Now I know where I want them to be by the time they get to 11th grade. I know exactly what I have to teach them in 11th and 12th grade for the IB program that I'm teaching, the International Baccalaureate. So I'm going to lean over here to see how much time. 16 minutes already. So I know exactly where I want them to be now. So now I know, okay, well, I want to teach them this in 7th and this in 8th and this in 9th. And then when I get them, twice a week in 10th, we're really going to get into, the turn of the century, World War I, the Great Depression, and everything. And I'm going to get them ready, to start modern world history and talk about the ramp up of fascism and then World War II and the things we have to talk about. So right now I'm doing like ancient China with my 7th graders, and my 8th graders I'm doing like Napoleon and things. I'm kind of all over the place. We're doing fine. The kids are enjoying the classes, but I don't have an overall arc to it all, and that's coming into focus now that I've taught for a year. That doesn't mean they haven't learned anything and we haven't had good classes, but now I can kind of see the through thread of where I want them to be when they get to 11th grade, assuming that they stay for 6 years in my school. So, like I said, some of these things it just takes time. They're going to come to you. But when I very first got the job and they're like, okay, well, you've got to have this. And, what formal assessment do you want to have? What internal assessment do you want to have? I mean, some of these terms are new to me, and I had to spend time studying the IB. I had to take an online course to learn about some of these things. And so you'll just have to put in the time. But it will be fine, once you get going. And, again, watch the video about pacing. Pacing is crucial to having good classes. And if you can get that going, you'll feel satisfaction and you'll be like, oh, we had a good class today. Okay, what are we going to do next time? And I don't work that far ahead. We just had exams. We're about to start the second semester at the way my school works. And I'm not even thinking too far into the second semester. I know about a month ahead because this is the first time I've done it. So I'm kind of going with it as it goes and seeing where the kids take me. And we really? So you have a question about that? Oh, okay. Oh, well, wait, we're going to read Animal Farm because we're talking about Stalin and totalitarianism? Yeah, let's read Animal Farm. Okay, so that, I wanted to do that in one class. So we read Animal Farm because I wanted them to have some fiction mixed in with the nonfiction. And it just came to me, and we ordered the books, and we read it, and it was great, But that, boom, right there in the middle of my, curriculum is this thing I hadn't planned, but it worked out fine. So things will come to you. Don't worry so much. And, if you do have somebody that says we'd like to see some ideas about what you would like to teach, I'm not saying BS them, but I mean, just, think about it, and like I said, ask them some questions about what their program is and how the kids are expected, what are they expected to do? Is it an emphasis on oral communication? Is it an emphasis on writing? Is it an emphasis on taking the TOEIC? What do they want from you? And then, proceed. Okay, well, that was 20 minutes. So thank you so much if you watched all the way to the end. If you watched all the way to the end, what do you think of my new t-shirt? I kind of like it because it's sort of a double pop culture reference. You guys. Okay, anniversary stuff happening soon on the channel. I'm trying to think of something really fun, maybe some giveaways, etc., just to celebrate, and I'll be talking to you soon. Okay, bye!